new look younger team. Some vets were traded this summer. Do you feel like you're kind of a leader for this team now? You've been in the gym a lot with these guys.
Yeah, for sure. I think it just comes with the territory. I think me going into my third year, and there's some expectations on me, and I think that just kind of comes with the territory.
You have not really had a chance to play with Myles much yet because of his injury last year, but what's your connection with him now? What do you see as his role on the team as a veteran player?
Yeah, I mean, he got here like a week ago, so we've been playing together, I guess, for the last week, kind of just learning each other every day. And I think, like time and experience is going to be our best teacher as far as our relationship on the floor. So as we get into camp tomorrow and continue on through the preseason, I think that it's kind of be kind of trial and error and kind of figuring out the best way for us to work together. And but I think he's a vet. He's a guy who protects the rim really well defensively, but offensively, I think he knows what I like. I think I know what he likes. So kind of just I think we do a really good job of having constant conversations as to how we can best fit, and I think that's going to help us in the long run.
So many of you guys have been around all summer. What have you kind of observed about this new group?
What I love,
yourself.
Yeah, what I love about us, we just got a lot of guys who love basketball and just want to compete. For the last 2-3 weeks that we've been here together, we've been keeping records of all of our open runs and guys arguing in the back, and it being a constant thing throughout this facility and in the group chat and everything. So I think we just got a lot of guys who love basketball, want to compete, and I think that's a great start for any team.
With all the athleticism on this team and you being able to push the pace, is that an emphasis coming into this year? Is the pace pushing a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. But in order to do that, you got to defend, right? You got to get some stops, got to rebound the ball, quick outlets, things like that. So, I mean, yeah, of course, we'd love to play in transition as much as possible. I mean, I would for sure, but it's not going to happen unless we get any stops. So I think that's going to be a big point of emphasis, is just to get stops, because I think we have so many guys who organically are just transitioning basketball players that if we can just get some stops, it allows us to be at our best.
What have you thought of Bennedict Mathurin so far, playing with him for a couple months?
Yeah, I've been really excited to spend some time with him, not only on the floor but off the floor, kind of get to know him more as a human being, but just seeing spots that he likes. I think a lot of these last couple of weeks that we've spent on opposite teams, right, guarding each other, I think that's important for us, and I think as time goes on, camp goes on, we get to play with each other more. I think that's going to be big for us, and I think he's really excited to play with me, and I'm really excited to play with him. So I think it's going to be a great duo.
You feel like you complement each other pretty well?
I do. I think that he's a guy who's aggressive, heavy downhill scorer, can score at all three levels. I feel like myself playing in pick and roll, I can facilitate really well, but I feel like I can score the ball as well. So I think that it's a pretty natural fit, but there's just going to be growth that comes with it, and just kind of understanding where his weak points are, where my weak points are, so that we can, kind of pick those up for each other as best possible.
Do you think it's fair to say your confidence is at an all-time high right now? It feels like you're the leader of this young group, going from Sacramento, where you were a rookie, now you're entering a position where you're kind of viewed as the face of the franchise now. Does it feel like your confidence now in your position, you're kind of taking that and running with it?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's easy to say. I've had a great summer. Obviously, you guys hear, people gassing me up on social media and things like that. So that doesn't hurt, right? But I think for me, it's kind of just about, staying relaxed, staying who I am. Trust me, my mom keeps me level, and my girl keeps me level. So, I'm just fine, and I'm just really excited.
What growth do you want personally this year?
I think in a lot of different aspects. I would say mainly for me, I think defensively is my biggest area for growth. Taking on more challenges. I think LP and Coach Carlisle on the staff did a great job of, when I got here, making me take challenges that in SAC I'd never really had to take, or it was easy to kind of just hide me. Here I think that they've kind of challenged me to take on more, the harder players to guard and things like that. So I think that's been really good for me, is kind of taking on those challenges and kind of just growing from it, right? I think being on a young team, you're allowed to make mistakes and get time to grow from it. So, I think that's probably the biggest point. But obviously the leadership aspect of, this is the first time in my life where I'm really looked at as or not my life, but in the NBA, right? Looked at as a leader, and just doing that in the best way I possibly can.
How do you think you can benefit from spending a full season here and having a little more stability than you did last year?
Oh, it's going to be huge. Having a consistent schedule. I think I played 26 games here last year, and half of them I literally walked from the Alexander. I was right down the road, right? There was no consistency between my schedule. I didn't know what I was going to eat before the game, things like that. So now that I have like my own place where I know I'm living, I have a chef, like I can have a consistent routine to where this is what I like to do before the game, after the game. It's where I like to go, eat before and after. So I think it's huge for me just to kind of have a routine.
What do you eat before the game?
It depends on the day. Usually chicken and rice, some sort of chicken and rice, yeah.
Are you taking any credit for the Colts win yesterday?
No, none.
No.
No.
Things like that, though. Your kids' camp I was at a couple weeks ago, just getting yourself immersed in this community. What's that been like for you to become more than just a basketball player here in Indy?
Yeah, it's huge for me. I said that when I first got here, that it was important for me to be in the community as much as possible, kind of just show the human aspect of us basketball players, right? You see us on the court, you see us get mad at refs, see us get, just like we're basketball players, we're not human beings sometimes. So I think it's important to be out in the community, meet people, meet kids, so they can see like, I'm just like everybody else. I just happen to be okay at basketball. So I think it's pretty cool.
What do you anticipate the identity of this team being this year?
That's a great question. I think that's obviously time. There's a lot of time to figure that out. But I do think that, I think first and foremost, like we have to control what we can, and I think the biggest thing for us is just like being able to control our effort. Like we have so many guys who are young and have, feel like they have a lot to prove, not only, to the media or, naysayers, but to themselves as well. So I think our biggest thing is just I feel like we're going to play hard 48 minutes. And if you're not doing that, there's a guy waiting to do that, behind you. So I think we have a lot of guys who are going to, be prepared to play. And I think that's the biggest part. We can't control if the ball goes in every shot or if they hit every shot, but we can control how hard we play. And I think that's the most important part.
What do you look forward with Myles? Because you two haven't really played together just yet.
Yeah, I think.
Combination.
Yeah, I think obviously not a slight to any big I've ever played with before, but Myles is the best rim protector I've ever played with defensively. So there's a little bit more confidence when you have a guy like that behind you. Like you feel like you can get more into the ball. You have like an anchor in the back, so that definitely helps. And then offensively, I think he's probably the best shooting big I've ever played with as well in terms of being able to space the floor. It gives me a different look, and it's something different for me to look at because I've never had that. So I know the threat he is popping versus rolling sometimes, and but there's obviously the balance between the two because I do feel like he can be a better roller, and I think he feels like there's areas I can be better, and I think that's good that we have such a great relationship where we can say whatever we want, and I don't think anybody gets offended. It's just understanding where we can grow.
How valuable of a resource is having TJ McConnell around? Just being in your ear, and he's around you all summer doing the workouts.
Yeah.
It seems like he's just a good guy to have.
Yeah, I think TJ's like universally loved, right? Like I have never met a person who's like, I don't like TJ McConnell, right? And I don't know, I just love that guy. Like I don't know what it is about him. He's just such a great person. We have like a really, really great relationship, and I just think that he hypes me up in certain ways that I need, right? But he gets on me a lot of times too. Like we'll be playing against each other, game on the line, somebody else take the shot and he might get mad at me, right? And he's on the other team guarding me and he might get mad. So I think it's kind of great to have a veteran presence like that, a guy who's been around superstars before, knows what it takes to be that and been around winning teams before. So no, it's awesome to be around TJ. I definitely just love him as a person. So I'm just really glad to be on his team. Yeah.
Tyrese, you've been in the league long enough to experience trades. You've been in one yourself. In your time around Myles, he's been the subject of trade rumors all summer, really longer than that. Does that come up in conversation, and what have you seen about his approach to things being the subject of so many trades?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I told you it hasn't come up in conversation before. We've talked about it. But, like, we can't control anything. He can't control anything. It's kind of, franchises have to do what's best for them at the end of the day. And I do think Myles is a key piece for us, moving forward. And but that's not my decision to make. It's not anybody's decision to make. So, for us, we just have to control what we can, and that's just performing on the floor. And, I think he's very invested in being here. I don't think his mind is anywhere else. I do think that, obviously rumors happen, and I'd be lying if I told you NBA guys don't read rumors, but I think he does a really good job of just being where his feet are and focusing on how he can help us, how he can help me, be a better team, be a better player. So I think that's very important that his focus is here, and I think that means a lot to not only me but other young guys who they've never been around certain trades that they see if they see a guy who's in these rumors. Seems like every day, and he's approaching it the right way. I think that I think it shows something. Good for us young guys that just be where your feet are. You can't control everything and just, be a professional at the end of the day.
When the organization was going after DeAndre and obviously didn't work out in restricted free agency, would that catch you by surprise at all? Like the organization's willing to go this far for a player like this and help improve the roster?
Yeah, no, I don't think it caught me by surprise. I think I think our front office from the minute I got here has, shown that obviously this is a different state for the Indiana Pacers, right? It's, I guess, a rebuild, if that's what you want to call it. But this is the first time that this has ever really happened in this organization. So, I think it's not a surprise that they're aggressive to get back to where the Pacers have been before and want to compete again. So, it didn't catch me by surprise at all. But, things happen, and just move on.